Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet, and today this is a re-record of the Cultural Relativism. I don't know what it'd be now, maybe part 3, primarily because I tried to record this earlier, and for whatever reason I just couldn't get to the conclusion that I wanted to reach in the time frame as set through Short Funk recordings. I wanted to talk a little bit about the context of death in the culture of relativism. If there are any near absolutes or near apex points within cultural relativists may gather together, it is associated with the concept of death. You will hear this in Stone Ape recordings as I return to this as a mechanism of teasing, perhaps, out some more ideas from Heron Stone. My perspective associated with death is varied. There is nothing absolute in terms of my general philosophy associated with death, but I do think death represents something, in conclusion, that a group of people can at least have some discourse associated with. In this context, death is not so much associated with an individual dying, but it is associated with observers that have had some interaction with that individual. I think also returning to death as a kind of philosophical constant, or at least philosophical certainty in general discussions. You have an ability to talk about not only one's own mortality, but also the contributor's perspective associated with mortality. And that, in and of itself, provides a very interesting thing that a group of people can point to, or at least people that are willing to acknowledge it can point to. My own perspective associated with death is twofold. Firstly, I think it is an absolute. I can't plan for anything after my death, and I appreciate at some stage in my life it will conclude. All the ideas, all the things that I've put out, this kind of ongoing narrative, which I record and put on the internet, I think this has legs beyond my death. I would hope so anyway. Probably not. Probably easily forgotten about. But in the context of what one is as an entity, I have very strong philosophical views that one is only what one produces, in terms of produces for the consumption of others, and in terms of ideas that can propagate past one's own conclusion. In this light, my perspective on death is almost contrasting. On one side, with regards to myself, I view it is it, but I also view that certain ideas that I've put out, even if they're not referenced by me, even if they're not something that I have any degree of control over or ownership, has the potential to exist beyond this carbon organism pushing air particles towards a microphone. And in that light, death has both a definitive sense and also a completely relative sense, which I find an interesting paradox because actually the occurrence of paradoxes seems to be one of the only truths, for want of a better term, in any narrative form that one can present. Which means that when I find a paradox in a narrative, this oftentimes makes me feel that it is more honest than a narrative that has continued reinforcing points. It's almost like an aging propagandist trying to push forward their views. I try to avoid that. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.